Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I just paid my taxes and they got me. Oh, they got me good. Oh, they got me real good. I was wondering if they would get me. And then they were like, no, we didn't forget about you. We think you're special. We would never forget. And I know they charged me extra. They got me charged me extra because they know I won't survive jail. So they're like, he gonna pay it. Just write a number. He'll make it happen. It's been great traveling this week. I've been able to go to Milwaukee, Madison, now Minneapolis, and everything. When I was in Madison, there was something sort of curious that was happening. You know, I like being in Minneapolis because y'all smile an appropriate amount. You smile when something good is happening. You know what I mean? When I was in Madison, there were so many errant smiles. There were people just looking forward like, huh. I've never been in a city. I told them this too. I told them this to their face. I was like, y'all all walk like you walk into the light. Like, this is crazy. I try to be a jolly person, but this is insane. Nah, man, what? It was wild. And when I was there, I like when people are happy. I hope to make people happy, but when people got a little bit too much of it going on, I do have to get to the bottom of it. You know? And so I did do a couple things. It's something I like to do in any city when I see too many people smiling when I get there. I immediately go to that city's Yelp. Because I'm like, there are problems here somewhere. We just have to find where they are. You know what I mean? Not everything is a 5-star experience. Not everybody gonna give a 5-star. And it didn't take long. I found a 1-star. I won't name the establishment, but the review simply said, their old fashions taste like barbecue sauce. Let's be clear about something. You have to have such a fundamental understanding of how old fashions and barbecue sauce taste to take a sip of alcohol and go, nah, that's Sweet Baby Ray's. I know Sweet Baby Ray's. When I taste it, you're not slick just because you thinned it up a little bit. It's tough too, because when you're dealing with some of this happiness in different places, you wonder, did y'all get taxed? Do you know what I mean? They must have skipped over y'all if y'all so happy all the time. And I think sometimes taxes feel extra difficult because when you pay them, you feel like you're paying them for everything that happens next, not to pay for the life you were living up until that point. Does that make sense? Like it's like when you pay rent, you're paying rent to keep living there. But when it comes to taxes, you're mostly paying for everything that already happened, that you already enjoyed or didn't enjoy, depending on the city. And I think that if you got something back with your taxes, let's say you pay your taxes, they give you that tax return and everything. You can read all the numbers, why they say you owe what you owe or why you got back what you got back. And then they list next to that what they paid for with it. That might make people feel a little better, you know, because we don't know where our tax dollars go exactly. So then something happens and you feel like you're paying for that and you're like, this isn't what I paid for. And somebody should tell you, oh no, this isn't on you. That's not, that wasn't your money. You know what I mean? Like paying taxes as part of a country feels like when the bill comes and you got to split it, but you only got wings. Like, hey, I got 6 wings. All right, there are 6 sets of bones in my basket. I didn't take any errant bites or anything. And some of y'all are alcoholics. I am not prepared to split this bill with you. You have your barbecue sauce, old fashions. You have your... Not down for this. Because everybody's having some money troubles right about now. I mean, from all different ways. People are getting squeezed in lots of different directions, you know? Like we already know, tariffs are almost old news now. But the fallout isn't. The fallout is fresh. The Dow has only dropped by 1,000 points 11 times in history. And 4 of them were in like the last 2 months. Like this is very bad. If this were a roller coaster, this would be the part of the ride where your neck breaks. Like it's just... Engineers don't build this way. This is not safe. And you see it through the tariffs. I've talked about it before, but those people on the money channels, they're still a bit nervous. Still freaking out, you know. They still come on every day. One of my favorite things about watching them now is they talk to us like we're the news. They're there doing the news, but they looking right in the camera like, I don't... What y'all think? Oh, it's bad. You know, like just this week, you know, you had people losing money in all sorts of ways. I mean, Christy Noah. Christy Noah was at a restaurant, got her bag stolen, right? And I don't know. It is wild. Okay, because then you have to... Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to put this. Okay, so then when you report your bag as stolen, right, and you got to list the contents of your bag, you know, her bag had her driver's license in it, had her passport in it. She had $3,000 in cash in her bag. $3,000 in American dollars. $3,000 in cash. What you doing, Christy? That's $3,000. North American, South of Canada dollars. She had $3,000. That would make sense if this was like the 90s. You know, it's the 90s. You got it like that. You got 3,000 on you. You know, okay, you might see a food truck, want to treat the town. $3,000 in cash in 2025. $3,000 in the year of our Lord Apple Pay. If I had been the cop that she reported to, that the business, she told me, listen in the back, oh, my DHS badge, my passport, my driver's license, so much stuff was in there. I had a couple of Jolly Ranchers, and oh yeah, $3,000 in cash. I'd be like, oh, do you rap or something? Like, why do you have that much cash on you? No, she had $3,000 in cash, but the kicker for me was she had a bunch of blank checks. I don't even have to, yeah. You still write checks. In 2025, You just got that blank check on you just in case something pop off, and $3,000 in cash isn't enough. This is the most prepared to be mugged individual I've ever seen in my entire life. That is insane. You already got $3,000 in cash. Imagine you pull up on Christy No, you're like, give me everything. And then she's like, here. You about to walk away. And then for whatever reason, you don't know why, you just feel led for one moment. You look over your shoulder back at her. And she got a pen. You said give you everything. You know? A bunch of blank checks. I don't even know if the thief would know what to do. Like, there used to be whole departments dedicated to check fraud. And now it's like 2 dudes. People are not writing checks like that anymore. I bet you they dump the contents out. They're like, oh, we score. We got $3,000 in cash. We got her DHS badge. I'm sure she's going to want that back. We got her passport, her driver's license. Oh, we got everything. Why she got a bunch of little papers with her name on it? Some people so conceited. No, because I had an incident happen to me when I was in college, where I left for the break, and when I got back, the RA, resident assistant, comes up to me as soon as I get back on campus, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna walk with you to your room. Now, you could get in trouble at the school I was in. It was a dry campus. You could get in trouble for like having alcohol in your room, or like if they found anything. Sometimes if there was even a whisper of something in your room, they'd at least want to check it out. And so I didn't know if maybe somebody had said something. I lived in my own room. I had my own like dorm room by myself, and so I was like, I know nothing should be in there that I don't know about, unless maybe I left it unlocked, somebody put something in there. I don't know. So I'm kind of freaking out on the walk to get to my room, and then I go ahead, I open the door, and before I open the door, she's like, okay, don't freak out. And I was like, that's not how you start. It's the least helpful way. She's like, don't freak out. While people were gone on campus, there were a series of break-ins, and your room was one of the ones that was broken into. Right? Now, this isn't like me being like poor me, but everything I had is everything I had. Right? So I like the stuff that I left there, I have one of everything. Right? And same for the stuff at home. And so I'm opening the door thinking like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't have money to replace things that might be missing or broken, you know. So I open the door, and my room is trashed. It's like fully ransacked and everything. And then she's like, you just make a list, okay? Make a list of everything that's missing, and we'll figure out if like the like Department of Public Safety on campus and the school at large can like help you recover some of it, or you know, maybe, who knows, maybe the school can like come up with the funds to help you get the stuff that was missing. And so I look around, and I'm moving clothes out of the way and all this stuff. I open my closet. They were in my closet too and everything. And it takes a little while, but quietly I realized to myself that they didn't take anything. This. Do you know how embarrassing it is to get your place broken into? And a thief is like, I'm good. do you do? What do you do? You know, I'm in my head, quietly walking around. You know, RA is still standing in the doorway and everything. I'm getting defensive in my head. I'm like, all right, I got a couple of good DVDs. All right, they not Fight Club fans? Like, no, I got a PS1. I know the PS3 is out, but I had a 1. They could pawn that. You know, they don't even have imagination. So finally the RA is like, so, anything? And I was like, yeah, they took my Gucci watch. I had 2 Chanel bracelets. You gotta put the bracelets down. Please write the bracelets down, okay? And I had about $3,000 in cash. You know? It's difficult when people are feeling like they're squeezed so much financially. Like there are things that you have to pay. But the thing I guess that gets me sometimes when it comes to paying tax, I feel like some of the reluctance around it is that it feels like you work all year and then you get taxed for this money that's going to be spent on a bunch of things that you didn't agree to. It less like you worked all year and it's to pay for the things that we already enjoyed. Does that make sense? Like the framing of it, I think, is why people have such a problem. You know, like if you just sent back the tax return and then listed the stuff, yeah, I mean, we might be like, oh, I didn't know that I kept the bridge open. That's good. That's pretty good. I use that bridge every day. I'm glad it's not in shambles. Oh, that's fantastic news. You have to pay your taxes not just because the government is telling you to. It's not the government being some big bad meanie or something. It's you live here. And you use the road, so maybe chip in so that it doesn't fall all the way apart, you know? And like that's not to say, really quick, that's not to say that I just pay my taxes blindly and love it and never question where it's going, because it is your money as well, so you deserve to have some say in where it goes. That's why we elect people to Congress. You know, it's why we pick the officials that we pick, even on a local level, because we're like, you work for me. You are my employee, and here are the things that I want to see. These are things that I don't want to see. It feels like in this moment we're in a real predicament of, I guess the best way I can describe it is I used to work at a store, and when I worked there, they promoted this one guy that was like, one of us, one of the cashiers. They promoted him, and they really shouldn't have done it. They clearly weren't paying attention. Like I was barely a good employee, and he was worse than me by far. And they promoted him. I was like, that blows my mind. And I wasn't jealous. It wasn't like I wanted a promotion. I felt like my duties to my level of commitment were right on par. Like I was like, let me stack the grapes, let me stock the shelves. Don't ask me to do more, and I promise not to do less, okay? No. Yeah. But he was actively bad, and they promoted him. And a good example was he wanted to go to business school, and one of the assistant managers said, oh, I used to go to business school. Like I graduated from business school. I tell you what, I will give you all my old business school books. I don't know how much of it will transfer, how much it will actually help you, but it can get you started before you actually start school. You might be able to learn some of the basic concepts. It'll help you, right? And that was a very nice thing to do. He didn't need to do that. I respected that very, very much. He saw somebody with a dream. He wanted to help them along, And so he gave him these books. And I'm not even kidding. The next day, this dude comes to work and accidentally knocks over about a pallet's worth of wine because he was walking while reading the book. The book, I'm not even kidding, was called How to Understand Business. And this is who you promoted. You know, we're in the business of selling groceries. We buy groceries from places, we hold them until people want to buy them from us, and then we sell them to them. We're in the business of buying and selling groceries. He will stand in direct conflict with our ability to buy and sell groceries. And you've promoted him. Yo, we're in a similar predicament now. As a country, we're in a similar situation because Pete Hegseth got in trouble again for the same thing from before. Basically, if you're not familiar, a bunch of people who are supposed to were using the app Signal to, talk about war plans, and quick gist, they accidentally invited a journalist, and then the mission kicks off. They do the attack. The attack is successful, and everyone finds out, and they're like, "That was dumb. Don't do that again." And everybody was like, "We can't promise that. Like, that's not." Okay. Well, fast forward to rewind, we are in the same situation again, because unbeknownst to, I guess, anybody at the time, Pete Hegseth had not only been using Signal to discuss war plans, he had a whole other channel where he was just talking to his wife, his brother, and his personal attorney. And you couldn't. This is what genuinely bothers me. Like this is what actually upsets me about the whole thing. Some people are upset. They're like, I can't believe they were discussing such sensitive information that should have been. They can say it's not top secret. They can say it's not classified, but it's at least something that we should hold tight until the mission happens. And he's just discussing it plainly on this app that could be hacked. And it's like those things. Discussing it with people who shouldn't know isn't actually my problem. Maybe this is my own hot take, but I feel like that sort of thing happens all the time. I think anyone who's like married to someone in government, anyone who's married to someone high up in any business knows some things that they're not supposed to know. That's like human, actually. You don't think Michelle Obama? You don't think Michelle Obama was kept up at night knowing stuff she wasn't supposed to know? Do you know what I mean? You think Michelle Obama was in the White House like, Barack, what's wrong? And then Barack was like, it's classified. No, I don't think that happened. I'm sure Michelle was in the White House minding her own business, eating a veggie plate. Barack halfway kicks open the door. I've had it up to here with them. Okay? They want to kill everybody. They want to blow the world up. Now you sitting there, you Michelle, you like, oh, I don't even want my carrots anymore. Oh, no. The thing that bothers me is that he couldn't just be professional, and wait for an hour till he got home to tell her in person. Like, just do it the way people normally do it. Walk in the door, be like, you won't believe. Like, that's the way you do it. But when I pay my taxes, I do get upset when I see it blatantly being misused. Like when Pete Hegseth is supposedly building a $40,000 studio in the Pentagon to do his makeup before he goes on TV. I'm like, that, if even $1 of that is mine, I'm very upset. Like, I'm not saying I'm the whole 40, but like, that's so insane. Secretary in the makeup room. Should he be at war? Like, Um, every once in a while, you come into contact with somebody that you know from you know in a personal way, and eventually, maybe this has happened to some of you. You turn on local news and you see them, and you're like, I knew it was gonna be something. You know what I mean? Maybe it's the 8 o'clock, the 10 o'clock news, but they did something. You see that mug shot and everything. When I was in Chicago, I worked with this dude at our job, in the break room, we had a light sensor for the light switch. So you could just press it, lights come on, or, if nobody was in there or if you didn't move for long enough, lights go off, right? And one day, I'm walking into the break room, take my break, lights are off, I walk in, lights come on, and he's sitting there, already in the break room, eating barbecue. And let me go out on a limb right now and say that if you eat barbecue in the dark, you are a murderer, okay? You're already guilty in my mind. If you are that comfortable with bones in the dark, there's no telling what else you're capable of. If you are that comfortable slipping and sliding on your teeth and tongue, barbecue is messy enough in the light. You should have seen his face when the lights came on. It was insanity. And then I walk in and he not even, if it were me, and that happened, because I try to put myself in his shoes. I try to be empathetic. I'm like, okay, let's say you eating barbecue in the break room on your break, right? Kind of a heavy meal for a 15-minute break, but to each their own, you know what I mean? You go be sleepy when you come back, but I want everybody to enjoy their life. So let's say you're eating barbecue in the break room, and you are somehow doing it so still. I'm not saying he should be hitting the rib like corn on the cob. You know what I mean? I'm not I'm not saying he should be digging into it with his face. Like, in case you're wondering, that is, at least in my mind, the sound you make when you eat barbecue in the dark. Like that. If you eat barbecue in the dark, you don't eat it like the rest of us. The rest of us chew like civilized people, but if you in the dark eating barbecue, you are wilding out. You're doing whole other sounds and effects that the rest of us don't do, you know? I'm not saying that you need to be doing a bunch of extra movements when you eat your barbecue. I'm just saying if you're doing it so still, munch, munch, munch. Munch, munch, munch. Munch, 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 munch. Munch, munch, yum. Munch, 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 munch. If you're doing it so subtle that a light sensor, that technology was like, ain't nobody in the room. And then they decide to shut the lights off on you, and you still did not feel led to change the conditions of your meal. If you were eating barbecue in the break room and then the lights go off and you're like, that's even better. That tells me you're not right in the head. Something is going on with your mind or your spirit. Something is evil in you. Munching away. And then you think to yourself, oh, what if someone walks in? What if someone walks in and feels like, this is awkward. This is weird. I would hate for them to judge me and my entire personality based off of one instance, you know? Maybe I should get up and paw my way, if the lights don't come on, to the light switch and press it so the lights come on and the room is once again filled with God's holy light. I even tried to extend that olive branch and be like, you know what? He probably didn't want to get barbecue sauce on the switch. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he thought if he was flinging his hands, he'd get barbecue sauce on the walls. That would look even scarier because now I walk in, the wall's red, you got a bone in your hand, you munching away. Really try to put myself in that headspace. Try to be fair to him. And after I got through thinking all those thoughts, I was like, nah, the whole thing was weird. No, I was right. It's insane. Okay. Side note. I left that job, right? And one day I was catching up with a different coworker. I was telling them what happened, right? I was like, hey, I was super weird. Like I get in there and, you know, he been in the dark, so he wasn't fazed. It wasn't like something just happened and I walked in right after or whatever. And they were like, oh, you know what? I didn't want to tell anybody, but the same thing happened to me. Which means on a different day, this man was eating barbecue so gentle that he lost the light again. And this dude, okay, so look, so my coworker told me, they were like, no, okay, so when I walked in, that light, I think, was genuinely broken because I walked in and it was still dark. Like it didn't just come on because I swung the door open, right? So we at least know now he didn't turn the lights off on himself. Because I did worry about that. I did worry that man took his break, went to the break room with his barbecue, knew what he was about to do, knew how unchristian he was about to behave. Set the barbecue down on the table and was like, nobody needs to know. But yeah, so apparently there was a problem with the light in the break room, and they were like, yeah, but when I walked in, he was eating the barbecue and I'm pretty sure he was choking. Which would make you feel bad for him for a second, until you really put yourself in that situation. Because if you walk in to a dark room, you assume nobody's in there. And the sound of someone choking on barbecue in a dark room does sound like a demon. It does sound. If you walk in and start. No, do it real quick. Close your eyes. Close your eyes real quick. I want everybody to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Piece of brisket getting caught in the back of your throat, and now you sound like Beelzebub. No. And so then when the light from the door spilled in, they saw, and they couldn't really make him out because they were kind of blocking the light themselves, just standing in the doorway. And they said that they just saw him like eating in the corner. Which, why are you facing the wall? I forgot to mention that. That happened to me too. He was facing the wall. It's already dark. You don't need to worry about being seen. But he's facing the wall going. I was like, what did you do? What did you do when that happened? And they were like, I thought it was a demon. I yelled out loud, I rebuke you. And then I closed the door. Oh, man. So then, I'm chilling in my apartment in Chicago and watching the news. And I see a mugshot with a familiar face who had been arrested for trying to rob a barbecue restaurant. It's especially tough right now because I think people are getting squeezed from more angles than we thought was possible, right? It's like, wages aren't increasing, jobs are hard to come by because of layoffs. Some of the layoffs are like the seasonal layoffs when, companies restructure and everything, things that we're actually used to. But then some of them are people losing their jobs in government. Some people are losing their jobs in the private sector in place of potential like AI advancements and stuff, all while you have the tariffs going on. And I truly believe that some of it is preventable. Obviously, there's going to be ebbs and flows with every economy. There's going to be ebbs and flows with every country throughout its history of how rich it is or how markets fluctuate. Some of these are unforced errors, and some of these are things that just happen, but it's all happening at one time, And I think very basically, I wish everyone could agree on it, but we're not there yet, that just by being human, just by virtue of being alive, you deserve access to basic necessities, the most basic of things, right? And especially if you're working. If you are working full time and you're still struggling to get the basic, we're talking about food, water, and shelter. We're talking about the most basic things. And I think sometimes when you bring up the people who are having a rough time, they're having a rougher go of it than is just, right? Life isn't fair, but you build the scale so that things can level out, so that they can be just. And when you talk about people who are having a rough time, who need extra help to try to get level, and they're working, they're doing their best. I think people conflate that with people who want luxuries or they want something for free. These people are already working. We are the hardest working country in the world. We clock more hours than anybody else, and we every year have less and less to show for it. We have less to show in healthcare. We have less to show in education and possibility of upward mobility. Every year we work harder, and every year we have less. We take less vacation days than pretty much anyone in the world. And for all of our hard work, we are not seeing the fruits of our labor. And there are people who will tell you, oh, but if you just work a little bit harder, if you just do it this way, oh, I'm smart, I figured it out, you will too. It's people who are not addressing the fact that everyone does not get a fair shake. Like, you only need to look at me as an example. You don't think I want to be in the NBA? I did everything that I was supposed to do. I ate my greens. All right, I shot the ball. I did the running. I did everything. But trust me, if I show up to an open tryout and shoot my shot for whatever team will have me, they will be calling security. All right. And finances work in a similar way. I'm not coming down on anybody who came up well, went to a good school, and then through that good school, you made a connection, which got you your job, which affords you your lifestyle. I'm not saying you don't work hard. I'm saying everyone doesn't have that same opportunity, And I think that at the very basis, right? At the very basis of food, water, and shelter, people get it in their head that even shelter means, a lavish house or something. Lavish. I'm not talking about lavish things. I'm talking about enough to get by. Everyone is fighting to get by. When you talk to people who don't have about what they want, they just want to be level. They're not asking for expensive, lavish things like outdoor furniture. patio furniture is ridiculously expensive. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's literally outside. You don't even want it in your home. It's almost trash. I don't care how comfortable it is. You literally let it get rained on. You know, you buy it from a store and then you bring it inside for a second just to take it out to the backyard and leave it there. And it's too expensive. It's crazy. In fact, when the outdoor furniture is inside, that's when you know it's bad. When I was living with some friends in college, their lawn chairs were the chairs. And I was like, we in a bad situation. We're not doing well. You got the patio furniture in front of the TV. We about to die tomorrow. Whew. Yeah. You know? It's bad. It's bad. And it shouldn't be this bad, you know? You work, you pay your taxes, those things should come back to benefit you. And it's still, there's a narrative that's going on that's got all of us really going after and arguing with each other. As if there's limited resources, as if there's limited money, as if there's limited opportunity, and we know there's not. We know that there's actually plenty to go around. Even with the hundreds of millions of us that are in this country, there's plenty to go around because we know how much billionaires have. Because they make it known how much they have, you know? Like you see how much land they own and you're like, that is a lot of people could live there. That's crazy. Or you know that CEO that said he wanted to own all the water? It's like, that's something you keep to yourself. What a sociopathic thing to say. Oh, I want all the water. You can't even drink it. What's wrong with you? That's what kills me. It's like people think that it's solely government. People think that it's their job. They think it's not. I promise it's not. And what really burdens me, what keeps me up at night, is that these people are siphoning all this money. They siphon it from the government. They get benefits from the government. They get tax cuts from the government. They siphon all this money. They siphon your wealth from you. They siphon it in wages by the fact that they don't increase. They siphon it off of like shrinkflation when they act like they cry poor and then they charge you more for less. They siphon all this money, all to what end? To have a few people have all that money, more money than anyone will ever need in their lifetime. And you know it because they don't spend it. They siphon all of this money out. They are literally parasitic. And then they dress like me. That's so crazy. You have all the money in the world and you look like me. What are you doing? That's so crazy. Oh, it doesn't have to be this way. And I know sometimes you can feel powerless, especially when the big thing is happening, when the big thing is just going, you know. But with a movement towards any action that is based in the people's wishes, it has to come to fruition in any instance. And you see it all over the world. You see people rise up in whatever form it takes to make their voices heard. And it's still very much possible. I know that there's a narrative out there that you're like a cog, that there's nothing you can do, and that you might as well just scrounge up as many pennies as you can to get by, and that'll be the best you can ask out of life. You know? It's to the point now where even people who cross over that $1 million threshold, they enter that tax bracket, they still feel that way. You could make $500,000. You could have $300,000 saved up, and you might sell something within your company, make another $200,000. You might cross that $1 million threshold, even by just a little bit, and still be like, I'm barely getting by. And people roll their eyes at that. They scoff at that. But the way that things are set up, unless you are uber rich, is very easy to drop right out of that tax bracket. None of that is certain. You know, small business owners, some of them could be considered millionaires, but they'll tell you, they're like, my actual business and the people that I care for, the employees that I employ that depend on me for their benefits, for their livelihood, it's like we are month to month, right? So this structure doesn't end at just taking care of yourself. And it is why everybody, to the best of our ability, we have to be looking at the whole. The way that they play it is the way that benefits them every single time. Someone who's already a billionaire would love for you to just try to be like me. You can do it if you work hard enough. That's the narrative out there. They don't talk about how many government benefits they get, how many tax cuts they get, that they were born rich. They don't let any of that into the story because it would kind of ruin the whole thing. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's literally, it's up to you because we're already there. We're already in a place where I don't see how things are just going to get better by themselves. People are putting burritos on layaway. That's insane. That's so crazy. There are apps now that they come to you and they're like, hey, we'll let you finance your lunch, dog. You know, pay $3 now, we got you. And they do. They have you. And they don't let go. And before you know it, it's been a month, and that burrito that was $12 when you didn't have it is $65 now when you're done paying for it. And it wasn't worth it. And it's siphoned more from you. The things that weren't already taken. They can take your wealth. They're taking it now. They cannot take your worth. If you know your worth, if you remember your worth, and you fight for it every day, and you fight for it with who you vote for, you go to your town halls and you speak to them and you let them know, we hired you. You work for us. We pay our taxes. Go tell them that this is done. It doesn't have to be this way. We can demand more. And the thing that we're demanding is not some sort of handout. We're demanding our work back to us in proportion for how hard we've worked. These people believe, they genuinely believe that they built this company up by themselves as if there's some idea truly as a self-made man. It's like, even if you built a company and you ship the things to the people and they love your product and they want more of it and you think you're such a genius, there are people driving that truck. There are people packing up those packages. And then there's the road that you didn't build. You know? In what world should it be like this? That's crazy. And then the narrative gets put back on us that we deserve these pennies, that we deserve such a small share of the thing that we helped build. Look around. Really look around when you walk around your city. Really look around when you travel. Wherever you go in America, no matter who you are, we built this. We built this together. We built it. And I'm not even saying that these like titans of industry don't hold a part in it. I'm not discounting someone having an idea and through ingenuity bring it to fruition to the point where they employ people, to the point where people depend on them. But there are responsibilities that come with that sort of thing. You know, I wanted to start a candy company and I was like, nah, I'm actually going to be a terrible boss. I'd be a terrible boss, you know, I'd be in there in the candy factory eating all the chocolate, making myself sick, and then when people come to the factory to look at our chocolate, they'd be like, the boss is in the bathroom throwing up again because he's a child that can't stop himself. And that's why I didn't start a business, because I was like, you know, there are other people that are better at it. It's tough, you know, you shouldn't be put in a position where you got to put barbecue that you eat in the dark on layaway. Like that's. I saw that in DC, the 911 operators are what? Oh my God! Y'all don't even know what I was gonna say. What's happening? Oh my God! Trust me, this is gonna go somewhere good. Just let me do the show. Oh my God. For a split second, I was like, are y'all gonna come up here? Like this feels like the last thing Chris Rock saw before it's just
The 22 of you just, Wow, okay, all right. Well, 911. Or they're basically starting a program where 911 operators are going to get $800 if they go to all of their shifts, right? If they don't call out, if they don't miss a shift. And I didn't know that this was that much of a problem, right? Because when you think about it, 911 is a pretty hard job to call out of. Yeah, I mean, like if you work at 911 and you're like, hey, I can't come in today, and they're like, why? And you're like, oh, it's an emergency. It's like, oh, tell me about it. Tell me what. No, it's personal. But yeah, apparently that's been happening. Apparently there's been very, very few shifts that have been like, did you call them or something? This is you were like, did something happen to you personally? Or?
It's just a frustration I have with the city. Like,
oh, okay. Oh, you just don't like it here. Like, you got a bigger thing. You got a bigger. Yeah. But to be fair, when you call them, it's cause you're finna die. Like it's. Gotcha. This is my thing. It's like, it's gotta be hard to a certain degree. I try to give people a little bit of grace because it's gotta be hard to like take those calls, you know? Because whenever I get an emergency call as a friend, I don't handle it well. You know what I mean? Like when my friend calls me as if I'm 911, calls me as like, oh my God, I need you to come pick me up. I need your help. I'm always immediately like, why'd your stupid ass go over there to begin with? Like they're clearly still in the emergency. And I'm like, see, that's why I told your dumb ass not to go over there. Because you love hanging out with them. They make you feel cool and everything. But now that somebody got popped, now you want help. So now I'm supposed to come over and get shot so I can prove I'm really your friend. Because notice you didn't call him. You called me, all right? Because you knew he wouldn't come. Now I'm sending an Uber driver over there just with a note to be like, don't wait long. Like if he doesn't get in, then he not there. So I get it. I get how it's got to be one of the hardest jobs because you're taking the emergency, but you're also powerless, right? You can send somebody the way I sent that Uber. And to be fair, you know, when 911 sends somebody, they know that they're the emergency service. My driver thought he was picking me up. My friend running up to the car. He's over here like, for Josh? He's like, yeah, whatever. You know, so it's like you're in a tough spot because you are genuinely powerless to what's happening, and you must hear just the worst stories, just the worst things. You know what I mean? Nobody calls to chat. You know what I mean? Nobody calls 911 to be like, "How's your day going?" Does anybody ever ask you how you? You know what I mean? I will say that. Okay, I'm digressing for a second, but it does make me mad. As much as we are surveilled. Why when you call 911 they don't know it's you? Do you know what I mean? Like I get so mad. Like I've only had to call 911 a couple times in my whole life, and then they're like, 911, what's your emergency? Like, what? What are you talking about? What is my emergency? Who am I? And they're like, where are you? I called from a home phone. I called from a hard line. People don't even have those anymore. You don't know exactly where I am right now? It's like, no, we actually can't trace the call. Oh, okay. You want to come find? I'm going to kill the president. Can you find me now? Like, that's insane. We can't tell where you are right now. We don't know. What? You know my whole browser history, and you don't know You don't know where I am. All right, whatever. But then, yeah, people have been calling out. So now they've started this initiative to be like, hey, maybe. And look, I don't know what 911 operators in D.C. or anywhere in the country, I don't know what they get paid. I'm sure whatever they get paid is not enough. Because I'm sure that every day, no matter the situation, at least one tragic thing happens that they just have to take home with them. You know? And then you have to take the next emergency like you didn't just hear the last emergency. You know, because nobody thinks about that. When you call 911, that person probably wants to tell you, "Can you give me a second? Can you give me a second? Because there was an active shooter situation, and then they just hung up. So now I'm talking to you. So I'm sorry. What's that about your chest pains again? You know, so it's got to be incredibly difficult. I understand why you wouldn't go back. I've quit jobs for far less. I think if I worked at 911 and I got a bad enough call the first like 5 calls, I'd be like, y'all, this isn't for me. I'll send money or something, but I can't. This is bad stuff. I don't have the help in my heart that I thought I had. You know what I mean? Because then also you have to like, you have to not be the problem. Like there's a show called I Survived that I will watch sometimes with my girlfriend, and it's amazing how many times the 911 operator isn't just not helpful. They're like actively contributing to the emergency, because then the person will call and be like, hey, there's somebody in the house. What? There's somebody in the house. You gotta get over here quick, because there's somebody in the house. It's not you? Somebody plus me. Is in the house. What room? I don't know what room. But they're not supposed to be in the house at all. Speak up, I can't hear you. Your voice down. Look, don't get attitude with me. You called me, all right? Don't get an attitude with me because you called me, all right? I didn't call you going, hey, how you doing? You called over here, okay? I'm sorry. Just keep your voice down. So it must be hard. It must be hard because you're trying to help and you could be hurt. Because then also you hear stories of people who were like, yeah, I called 911, but they couldn't hear me. So then they hung up. I'm like, how do you not have the good headphones? I'm talking about every 911 operator. I don't like that little thing that Halle Berry had in the movie with the little mic and the little earpiece, and it was only on one side. No wonder they can't hear anything. I want them to have the big old cover the ear, cover half the head headphones. You know, the ones that gamers have? You hear everything. When I play games, I can hear this kid's mom's footsteps in the hallway on the way to knock the controller out of his hand. Like, you can hear everything. They got them fighting. Not enough resources, not enough people. Because honestly, it's like, look, you know, we can criticize, but it's like, I really don't want to do it. You know, like, I think if people want to get it, like really understand, I think everybody, I believe this for a lot of jobs, but I think that everybody should have to take 2 911 calls. Just because you would be like, All right, so I let both mine die. That's my bad. I didn't know how to handle it. I panicked. I just started crying while they were talking, so I didn't take in any information or anything. That's my bad. I won't criticize as much anymore. $800 for all of your shifts, just because you still get paid, and then an $800 bonus if you make it to all the shifts. I don't know. I think that maybe let's try it. Let's see. You know what I mean? I feel like, I heard, okay, I did not know this person, but I heard a story one time from a friend when I lived in Chicago, who his cousin worked at 911, and then he called out, which I didn't even know they were allowed to do back then. I thought you had to really go in every day, or they would give you a total. They'd be like, hey, listen, this is how bad the day was without you, so. As an incentive to keep you coming into work, right? But basically, his boy called out, and then while he called out, and then okay, y'all are gonna judge me, all right? He called out, and then he got into a car accident, right? And so he wasn't driving, his friend was driving, and it was just it was a fender bender, but it was a bad one. And so then he went ahead and called just in case. And then when he called, apparently they were like, 911, what's your emergency? And he was like, nigga, it's me. Must be tough. In Chicago, there's a lunch lady that was arrested for stealing $1.5 million worth of chicken wings. As soon as I read the headline, I was like, I have questions. How many is 1.5 million chicken wings? Because are we talking the price of specials? You know what I mean? Because if those are 50-cent wings, we're talking about millions of wings. No? Or are these the more expensive wings, the nice wings that got some real girth to them? You know what I mean? Maybe they're $1 each, $1.5 million worth of chicken wings. And this was basically during the pandemic. She was in charge of ordering the food, right? And so she would order the food, and she started ordering the food, but then ordering some wings on the side, right? Like any of us. And so she started a whole hustle with these wings, right? And she drove the cargo van, so it was the perfect crime. She's the one ordering the food, and then she's the one picking up the food. So she was ordering the cargo vans, she was using the cargo vans after ordering the food. So she was basically taking the billing, but she was keeping the meat. No one knows where the wings are. Yet another mystery, right? Because any number of things could have happened with these wings. And I want to be clear about something. The program that she's ordering the wings for is for kids who are doing remote learning but still receiving a school lunch, right? So some of those kids, there's a chance that some of those kids went hungry off of her scheme, right? Which is sad. It's terrible. And it made me wonder what made it worth it? Getting all these wings, right? Did she have a side business? Was she going up to a wing stop? Hey. Anytime somebody's a criminal, they whisper in my mind. Hey. You deal in wings, I deal in wings. I got some wings outside. fell off a truck. You don't ask any questions. You make a little more money. And then Wingstop is like, no, we're not going to take your outdoor falling off of a truck wings. No, thank you. Nah, I'm good. And then she was like, okay. I already have an offer at Buffalo Wild Wings. Because I'll tell you what, I have been to some wing places in my life where you eat the wings, you're like, this has been on the floor. Like, this is not good. This is no reason they charged a quarter, all right? This is bad. So maybe she was flipping them. Maybe she was going over there with cases of wings to like local restaurants, being like, hey, just go ahead, serve it to the people. They're good wings, right? If you buy wings off of her, you got to be watching your dining room floor that night like, nobody dying. I guess it was some good wings. Okay. Really made a deal. And then I had a friend point out that perhaps, she was doing some sort of Robin Hood thing where she knows, because she's been working in the system for, about a decade, that a lot of food goes to waste. Maybe she was ordering food to give some food away, which is fine. I'd like to believe that little like chicken wing Robin Hood type angle. You know what I mean? Like an angle where she just is out on the corner deep frying in real time, just like feeding the hungry. Get over here, burn your mouth on this, But even in that scenario, you had to take food from a kid who was already hungry. And one of the reasons they caught her is that when they were checking the budget, they saw that the district was $300,000 over budget. You got to be more careful than that. Like she ordered all these wings, I guess in the period of like a few months, which is going to be noticed, right? And one of the reasons they caught her is because the schools don't order chicken wings. Kind of almost feels like entrapment. It was even an option. Like, I wonder when they saw the order if they were like, chicken wing? Okay, we'll do our best. But they don't do chicken wings at school lunches because of the bones. Yeah, because you have dumb kids that'll eat them. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm brilliant, but I always knew not to eat a bone. I don't know why we coddling these children. Go ahead and, let the kids have some real flavor in their lives. We can't have flavor because there's one kid gonna try to eat the whole thing. Oh, it's annoying, but it is crazy because when you think about it, if she had just stuck to like chicken nuggets, she'd be running an enterprise right now. Because I'd like to believe, just me personally, that she was like a chicken wing kingpin. At 7 figures, you're doing something with those wings. You know what I mean? I'd like to think that, she'd be showing up to the drop and everything. Looks like The Wire, but it's for chicken wings. She shows up with the wings. They don't show up with the money, And she's like, oh, you don't have the money? Okay. Grab them. And then two goons run up and grab the dude. And he's like, wait, I can pay. I swear I can pay. And then they make him put his arm in like a chicken wing. You know what I mean? And then they put his arm on the hood of the car and he had a chicken wing. He's like, no, please, don't do it, please. And then one of the goons just stomping his elbow, like just something that really hurts. They send him away. He's like, oh. Don't forget the money next time. Because when I saw her mugshot, it was crazy. Because, she's a bit older. I believe she's like 66, 68 or something like that. So it's kind of odd when you see an older person in a mugshot. Because she over here looking like Deadpool's roommate. You know what I mean? I was like, how you look like a lunch lady and guilty in the same picture? You could tell she had served some lunches too, just from the picture. Picture had a little sass to it, just a little like. You can tell that's how she be looking at kids when they ask for extra pudding or something. Oh, that's tough though. They gave that woman 9 years. Right? 9 years. That feels disproportionate. You know what I mean? The state doesn't care that much about chicken wings. They don't even care about the kids that much. That's 9 years? Wow. People on Wall Street don't do a day. Like that's 9 years. You know, I think that's too much. If it were up to me, I don't even know if I would have her really serve jail time. If it were up to me, it'd be probation and she has to eat $1.5 million worth of chickens. Oh, we know what you having for lunch for the rest of your life, ma'am. 6 years in, she's like, I've had every sauce there is. I can't do this anymore. Have y'all seen the Barbie movie yet? Yeah, okay, a lot of yeses, some no's. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm very excited to see it. Mainly because of what it's doing to white women. This is crazy. This is wild. What is happening? Like, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know what's happening in the movie, but white women are walking out militant as hell. This shit is Malcolm X for white women. This is fucking crazy. Dude, all of my white female friends that walk out of the movie are like, maybe we should do something about the Supreme Court. I'm like, jeez. What is happening in the movie? It is wild. This shit is like 300 for blondes that were in sororities. This is crazy. They just walk out of the movie like, I wish a fucking man would try to give me directions right now. I wish. I'm like, oh, okay. God damn. That's wild. I used to be a very chill person. Nothing ever bothered me. Nothing ever got to me. Everything rolled off my shoulder. Turns out I was just 17. I should have been chill. I wasn't paying any rent yet or anything. Now I'm in the real world. I'm very upset. This is horrible. And it sucks because when you're at every stage of your life, you feel stress. Every part of your life you felt stress. But as a kid, you think you know stress. Like you're sure that you know real stress as a little kid. Most stressed out person I ever met in my entire life was in elementary school. We were both 6. And this is the most stressed out to date. I've never met anybody like this. This kid was walking around like he had a full pension he was about to lose. Like he would crush his juice boxes when he got done with just so much like he had a mortgage. It was crazy. I'll never forget this. There was one time I went to a Montessori school, so we got nap time a little longer than other kids. And I remember we both 6 years old laying there. It was nap time, and nap time was the only time the teachers got a real break from us. But they needed all of us to be asleep, and he was just eyes wide, looking at the ceiling, and thinking about an annuity or something. Just like, and sure enough, teacher walks up to him very sweetly. I remember because I was laying next to him. She's like, "Is there anything I can get you, or like, do you need an extra pillow or something?" And like, I wasn't asleep, but I was dozing. You know, there wasn't anything on my 6-year-old mind. I was chilling. You know? But what he said woke me right up. It was the wildest. So she's like, "Do you need anything? Is there anything I can get you?" And he turns to her and said, "Naps don't help when your soul is tired." So, little man, what have you been through? What's happening right now? Oh, it was terrifying. It was crazy. I went to college for design, and It's funny how when you're graduating college, right at the end is when they tell you you could have not done any of this. It's like the dean is like shaking your hand and handing your diploma and whispering in your ear. It's like, you didn't have to. And I remember I was just looking for any job that I could get out of college, and I started working at a grocery store. And I told them that I majored in design, and they were like, oh, you can design how we put up the grapes. And the grocery store that I worked at, I was in Chicago at the time, and it was a horrible neighborhood. It was very bad. This was like an epically bad neighborhood. We had so many different characters because there was a clinic at one end, like it was like a methadone clinic, so a lot of people that were on or trying to get off drugs would just be around the store. And then there was also a mental facility, so the people who got out of the mental facility but didn't have anywhere to go would just hang out at the grocery store. So I was constantly in danger. I got used to it. And I remember we had this guy, he was a pigeon man. And my man, I don't know if he was homeless or not, but all I know is he filled the parking lot with pigeons. Pigeons loved this dude so much. This nigga was usher for pigeons. I remember one time there was this guy walking into the store that, I don't know exactly what he said because I was putting up the cart, so I overheard something rude being said, but I don't know exactly what it was. But he was like, why don't you get a job, you piece of shit? Like, said something that was way too mean to just be passing somebody to walk in a grocery store. It was wild. Pigeon man didn't do anything, just stood there chill. Got a couple pigeons here, a couple pigeons here, just let it go. Rolled her off the shoulder. And then the guy's walking out of the store, and this is gonna make me sound crazy. I'm just telling you what I saw, all right? Basically, that guy walked past Pigeon Man with his cart full of groceries, and then Pigeon Man looked at one of the pigeons and went, and then the pigeon flew into the back of that dude's head. And I'm not saying this man talks to pigeons. I'm just saying he did that, and then the bird did that. That's all. I'm just relaying information. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. I'm just, he went, and then the pigeon kamikaze the back of that dude's head. Almost knocked that man out. It was crazy. And then that's the other thing too, is that there were so many characters that worked there, but then nobody warned me. So I just started working there. But when you work in a bad neighborhood, they don't make the people that come and frequent the store part of the training. They should do that. They should be like, all right, look, on Wednesday, it's going to be a nigga in a dress. He gonna walk in, he gonna start fighting everybody, all right? So you just want to take cover, right? They don't do any of that. They're just like, all right, and then this is how you fill out your timesheet. Like, they act like it's a normal place. It was not a normal place. And so there was one day where this dude... This dude came in, walked in very casually, stopped right after the sliding doors, took off his shirt, took off his pants, and went, "I'ma fuck everybody." And then everyone started leaving the store. Everyone casually started filing out like it was time to go. No one protested. No one even stood to see if he meant it. Everyone was just like, all right, should have got here earlier. I was ringing up a woman in my line, and this old, 80-year-old woman, I'm not even quoting her, she was like, fuck those grapes, not getting fucked today. And just keeps walking out. It was insane. Because then this is the worst part too. They never had good security guards there. So then the man screams, right? And apparently he just does this. That's what he does it so much that customers were like, "This is when we have to leave. This is not. The bread's not worth it. It's fine." You know what I mean? And then, all right. So I don't know the name of it, so I can't put them on blast or anything. But they used this security guard service that was the worst security guard service I've ever seen in my life. I don't know where they were getting these security guards, because these people, not only were they not trained to they didn't secretly know Krav Maga or something like that. They also weren't big. So then this man rolls in, he's like, "I'm gonna fuck everybody," and then everyone starts leaving. And then the security guard, who I hadn't even noticed that day until this moment, because then I started scanning the grocery store for him. Security guard, I see him in the corner of my eye. He's walking towards me, and he's over here hobbling towards me. My man is 76 years old with a bad knee and just I think a metal ankle. I don't know what was going on with his legs. And he walked over and whispered in my ear, he's like, "Can you say something to him?" I was like, can I say something? I was like, can I say something? I just repeated it back until he answered something. I was like, can I say something to him? Can I say something to him? Like, can I say that? And finally, he's like, look, young blood, I asked them to give me a gun and they said no. They know I can't fight. I would have cleared all this out if I had my pistol with me. And then we just started, like, because the dude is just walking throughout the store in his underwear. And so we're just conversing about what to do. We're literally like, well, look, they pay me to put up the grapes. Like, I'm not really here for all this other stuff. And then he's like, this man is genuinely floating with me. He's like, you think I only live 12-minute walk away? Should I go get my gun? Like, and then we can just, look, I can go get my gun. We can act like you found it, right? And I was like, no, why would I find your gun that's at your house? And then my man said, he said it was a 12-minute walk, but he's like, but you know I walk a little slow, so you're gonna have to hold him down for about half an hour. Because, with this leg, it's been troubling me. It's been raining and shit, so I can't move like I used to. So then I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna get the gun. I was like, it takes you 30 minutes to do a 12-minute walk? He's like, yeah, so it's gonna be an hour. Like, it's gonna be quite a while before I can come. But as soon as I pop him, I bet he'll never be back here again. I was like, are you even a good shot? Like, like, at a certain point, you start considering it. My man is just like walking down the aisles. There's no customers in the store. He left, but he never came back. Like, I don't know what happened to him. I think he quit. I think he quit when he got home. I think he hobbled home, and then he was like, nah. You all were great. Thank you so much.
It's a beautiful time of year. Love is in the air. You can tell. You see people smiling at each other for no reason. This is the time of year where you look over at somebody and it's sunny out, and so they look back at you and you both smile. It's not like December. December, you look at somebody and they look you in the eyes and you can tell that they're like, what? But this is a very sweet time. You see all these people getting married. We're getting into wedding season and stuff. In New York, it seems, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are getting married. And I've never seen a wedding that had this much sleuthing to it. Like, this is genuinely wild. Apparently, they're going to get married at Madison Square Garden, which already implies you have an extensive guest list. That's like the only billionaire wedding I've seen people get excited about, that they like want to know more about. Like, Bezos got married around this time that I was here last year, and he was getting married on like a super yacht, and people were like, oh, I hope it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, details about the wedding kept coming out, and they were like, ooh, it'd be a shame if it, I mean, I'm not gonna do anything, but maybe God will, do what's right. And apparently they're building a castle inside Madison Square Garden. Yeah, apparently they're gonna build a castle for the wedding to be in Madison Square Garden. I've never planned a wedding. But if I went to anybody, they were like, I want a castle, I'd be like, ooh, this might be a touch much. You know what I mean? Because people forget Taylor Swift's like a billionaire because she doesn't give the billionaire vibes. Usually a billionaire is like off-putting to look at. I'm just speaking on the most famous billionaires that we have. Like the billionaires that if I say their name, you know them, you wouldn't just be surprised they were getting married. You would be like, someone lets you touch them? That's the general vibe. Like if I was like, oh, Elon's getting married at Madison Square Garden, you're like, ugh, okay, sure, right? But then also thinking about, like, when you look at Elon, you don't look at someone. I don't know. It's surprising he has children, is what I'll say. That's the nicest way to put what I clearly mean. It is.
an odd reality to live in where that man has several children by different women. Like, that's also insane. But yeah, there's a level of fame that I imagine must be somewhat difficult. And I know people go like, "Oh, boo-hoo, they're famous and they're rich." And it's like, sure, but I think that there can be times where you would like to just have a regular moment, and that becomes impossible because you reach a level of fame where you're known all over the world. And with being known all over the world, most people are normal people that will just be maybe a little bit excited if they see you, or they'll just notice that they saw you, right? Like, there are a lot of people who would say, "Oh, you know, it's crazy. I think I saw Taylor Swift leaving this hotel," whatever. And then they move on with their lives. But then with that sort of attention comes an economy of people who are not normal, who are excited to exploit you, or who are trying to engage with you in some way to get some of that attention off of you and onto them, or to just sell the amount of attention that they got from you, right? I don't really have these problems, and I'm not saying that I want them at all, you know? Like, I did Jimmy Kimmel's show a while back, and I was there the same night as J-Lo. The same night as J-Lo. And so I was like, "Oh, I might meet J-Lo. That'd be crazy," you know? And I don't know much of J-Lo's like music or movies, or I've seen some of all of it, you know? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like a J-Lo head like that. Like, I'm not like, "Oh, it's happening." I'm more just like, "Oh, that'd be really cool if we passed by in the hallway and I could be like, 'Hey, I like the one where you were with Matthew McConaughey. That was fire,'" you know? But the thing about it is, like, you show up, and when I showed up to Kimmel's studio, I was in a car, and there were paparazzi there, and then there were also just fans of the show and of J-Lo, I'm assuming, there with like things for J-Lo to sign and stuff, and people were taking pictures. And I get out of the car, and they definitely thought, I didn't tell them this, but they definitely thought I was gonna be J-Lo. They were positive I was about to be J-Lo. They could just feel it in their bones. This must be J-Lo's car. And so then I open the door and I get out, and to hear a crowd in unison go, "Oh!" It definitely lets you know how famous you actually are. But so many people are getting married this summer. You even saw that couple. You saw that couple climb the Empire State Building. What is it with New York right now? What is in the water? This couple climbed to the top of the Empire State Building, and like the actual top, like the antenna, like to where it ends. The most dangerous part to climb is what they climbed. I just want to stress this. So they climbed the Empire State Building, and they let this flag loose. And the flag said, "When the power of love beats the love of power, the world will know peace." And there were like five, yeah, sure, yeah, you can. There were like 5 minutes there where people were wondering what this was about, because this is not something that happens every day. You may have a flag on you, you may have a message that you want to get out, but climbing the Empire State Building doesn't occur to most people, activists or not. Even if you suggested it, they'd be like, maybe like a YouTube banner or something. And so then no one really knew what it was about. Some people thought maybe it was some sort of like protest of the administration. Some people thought it was specifically some sort of ICE protest or something. And then they climb back down, not all the way down, just down to the almost top of the top. They climbed to right below the antenna, and then one of the climbers proposed to the other climber. And, you know, she clearly said yes, jumping around, hugging and everything. And I wasn't in New York when it happened, but I can gather from social that everyone saw that and went, ugh. it quickly went from a potentially ambiguous political statement to like, oh wait, did y'all climb just for everyone to see your proposal? Like some of my friends were so mad. Some of my friends were so mad because they plan on proposing this year. I'm not gonna say which friends, but I have a couple friends plan on proposing this year and they were like, oh, that's not fair. Because you gotta understand, every proposal that seems even slightly accessible becomes a competition with your proposal. So now there are dudes that are like, I gotta outdo the top of the Empire State Building. Because here's the thing, you can go to what they call the top of the Empire State Building. You can do that on a tour. You just go up in an elevator and they'll give you a tour and they'll be like, hey, here's the history of the building. Isn't this so fascinating? And then you can get to the top. It's not the top, but it's like the observation deck, right? And there have been people who have proposed at the observation deck. And so I can only imagine if there was somebody who got up that morning and was like visiting New York City, you know, like it's a beautiful summer and everything, sunny outside. I planned something for us, babe. And then she's all excited. She's like, you planned? Yeah, I planned something for us. And then he doesn't even tell her what it is. He's like, just get in the taxi. Let me whisk you away. And then they get to the Empire State Building. She's like, oh, I've always wanted to go. Oh, this is amazing. I've always wanted to do this. And you know, we're from a state that's flat, so I can't even imagine how high it is up there. And then they start, taking the pictures, because you can take a picture as soon as you get in there that they give you later. It's almost like a ride. And then they take that elevator up to observation deck. Maybe he even paid extra to go to the top part that they don't tell you about when you go to the top, and just a little extra top, They get that VIP experience, and then they're standing there, and she's like, wow, look, that's Central Park. Look, that's our hotel. It's so low. Look, the sky. Feel like I could touch it. And then he's like, yeah, this is the moment. Because the thing about a proposal that, you want to remember it forever. And maybe those thoughts are going through his head. Like just when you see how excited she is and how happy he's making her just by having a plan. Just like a single. How happy she is. He's like, yeah, this is it. She's the one. She's absolutely the one for me. I can't believe I got so lucky. And then, he reaches in his pocket. And then he hears a scream. He hears a scream because someone has noticed a couple climbing the antenna. To the top of the tip of the Empire State Building. And he's like, uh-oh. Is that a terrorist? Because they were wearing black. They had their faces masked up. That's some terrorism. Okay. Well, in case something happens, maybe I should do it now anyway. And then he sees them unfurl that banner, and it says, the power of love beats the love of power, the world will know peace. And he's like, oh, okay, so not terrorism, all right. Wonderful, wonderful. We can remember this moment because we'll be like, hey, remember the time that those two protesters were like, and then we were like, that's us. We love each other more than we love, but we don't have any power. And just as he's about to kneel, he hears another scream because one of the climbers just proposed. He couldn't have
thought that they were going to propose when he was going to propose. Or else he probably would have been watching them like fall, 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 fall. Come on, it's windy, it's windy, it's windy, it's windy. Yep, yep. I saw the foot slip. Come on, fall. But then that guy kneels down and he sees him propose to her. And he had to be thinking in his head, why couldn't it have just been terrorism? This is... Yeah, my buddy went to went to propose. He's a little older, and so when he went to get down on that one knee, the hip and the knee clicked at the same time. We were over here. She heard all 6 clicks on the way. Then my man proposed, and she said yes, and knelt down and kissed him, and then was jumping for joy. But now he really locked in. The whole rest of the night he was over here sitting on the bar stool like this, like. I think back to when I moved to Chicago, and when I was in Chicago, I was pretty broke and everything, so I would just go to shows that were as cheap as possible. Like there was a show that was $5 to get in, okay? And the show was like an improv show. It was very fun. It was a really good time. But then we're all sitting, hanging out after the show at the end, and it's a table of us, like 6 people, all strangers, and I didn't know anybody, so I was very happy to try to make some friends and everything, and everyone was just sitting around the table. A couple people were having a drink, and this one woman prompted us. She was like, hey, let's go around the table and tell a story. Everybody will tell a story about your worst ever second date. Because here's the thing, this is what happens, right? You will go on a date, and usually people talk about their bad first dates. Usually it's all like, oh, they showed up and they were, the devil. And so I was like, oh, you weren't the devil in your profile. It feels like you catfished me because you're like a demon, and you didn't say anything about that when we were meeting up or when we were chatting, so. But in this scenario, it was like, what was a date you went on that was good, and then you went on the second date, and that was so bad it made you question reality from the first date. And somehow everyone at the table had a bad second date story. Everyone had a story of like, they were so lovely when we first met, and then the next time I saw them, they were like very rude to the server. They were just like, I couldn't tell if they were in a bad mood or if they were really this person, and they just put on a face for the first time. And then there's one woman at the table told us a story so insane that it made me question if I had really lived an interesting life at all. This woman told us a story about first date she went on. They meet up, and he really takes her on the town. He took her to a couple of really nice places in Chicago, like beautiful movie theater, but also the dinner was like this clearly high-priced, like fine dining experience with courses and everything. And he was really interesting to talk to, and they had a lot of the same interests and everything. It was just a wonderful first date. And so he even said to her, he was like, you know what? If I'm being honest with you, after the night that we've had, this is like it for me. Like, I really like you, and I just want you to know that I like you. I don't want you to walk away from this date having any doubt in your mind that I really like you. And she said that was really refreshing to hear because, people can play things close to the chest, or they can worry about getting hurt, and so then they can be coy and everything. But he was just saying it. And so a few days later, after some chatting, he asked her on a second date. And this date was going to be, he had planned it all out, it was going to be at his house. And it was going to be at his house like late afternoon, so. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a 2 a.m. come on over. This is gonna be late afternoon at his house, and she shows up and knocks on the door, and he doesn't answer. One of his friends answers, since a whole party. And it's at that point where she's like, oh, maybe he's invited me to like a barbecue, because she can see like people outside in the backyard, like drinking through the glass and stuff, and like a grill going and everything. And so she walks in, and the guy's like, oh, you must be Polly. And she was like, yeah, I'm Polly. And she's like, where's Steven? That's the guy. And she was like, I was here to meet Steven. He's like, yeah, okay. Well, Steven's around here somewhere, but I'll see if I can go find him for you. And so this is her first time at his place, and so she doesn't even know where to go next. And then this woman walks up to her and gives her a big hug, and it's Steven's mom. It's Steven's mom, and and she says as much. She's like, oh, it's so lovely to meet you. Steven's told me all about you and everything. And she was like, oh, okay. And she said, when she was at the table with us, it was the first time she ever hoped that someone lived with their parents, because then that would at least make meeting the mother so quickly make sense. And she was like, oh, let me introduce you to Donald. And so she quickly met his dad right after. And she sees a little setup. There's a grill in the back, and there's a little setup. And she can't quite tell what it is, but there's like 12 chairs and a couple tables near the grill. And I think she's in such disbelief that she can't put it together right away. But basically, Steven, for their second date, planned a wedding. And you have to understand, we're all sitting around the table sharing like bad second date stories. You know, and plenty of people are like, yeah, you know, the second time I met them, they were so rude. I was like, is this even the same person? And then she was like, yeah, Because the thing that she opened the story with initially when she was telling us about her worst second date ever was that she got arrested. And so even at this point in the story, I was like, when did you get arrested? Also, as soon as you realized what was happening, why didn't you leave immediately? And she was like, I was so shocked. I didn't know what to do next. And like, he had planned this whole thing, and I was so surprised. And I was like, please don't tell me you stayed in that house to just not be rude. I don't know what we need to do. I don't know as a society what we have to do. Ladies, if someone plans a whole wedding you didn't know about, you're well within your rights to leave that house. This is wild. And then she, you know, she was standing there shocked because not that many people were talking to her, but a couple people were looking, whispering and everything, and she was talking to the parents and stuff. And then finally, the buddy that answered the door comes back, and he's like, hey, Steven's upstairs if you want to go talk to him. And she was like, oh, yeah, I want to go talk to him. She goes up the stairs, knocks on Steven's door, and he's like, come in. And when she opens the door, he's holding a dress. And she's like, what is going on? What is happening right now? And he's like, what? You don't like it? I planned everything. I don't know the point at which you realize you're dealing with someone who is not from this planet. Liking it is not the issue at all. And she was like, we went on one date. And this man said, and it was magical. And before you have any sympathy for Stephen, in case you were working on some of that, apparently she said that, you know, she found this out after. Apparently, this dude had been like telling his family about someone, but not giving them enough detail. He had just been hyping up his family around the idea that he was getting married soon. But then he finally went on a date with Polly, and he was like, yep, this is the one. In case you were worried that he was in any way sane. And so then she was like, I can't do this. Like, this is wild. Why would you plan a wedding and not tell me? And I don't know you. I also don't know you. Like, because sometimes people who have lost it will then get you arguing from a platform you shouldn't be standing on. And she's like, I don't even know you enough to marry you. He's like, yes, but I think I love you. And she's like, you said think. And she was like, I can't do this. And he was like, come on, you can't leave. I planned this whole thing. Everyone will be so disappointed. And she was like, okay. And then, you know, rejection's hard. Even when you totally should be rejected by every metric of logic. But then he gets mad. He's like, come on now. I thought that we had something special. You know, I told them so much about you. And she turned and she was like, what? He's like, I told them so much about you, you know, like everything that you told me and more. And she's like, what do you mean more? And he was like, yeah, you know, like after our date, it just, everything went so well. I looked you up online. I was telling everybody about, you know, like. And then this is what she told us. She did push him out the window. And so then just imagine that dude laying there in a stretcher, getting carted off by an ambulance, like, so it's a no? Oh. Yeah. Because it's very difficult to know how much a couple's love is like a performance and how much of it is sincere. And it's not for me to know. I'm not in it with them. But just sometimes, I don't know, you'll be scrolling and you'll see a picture of two people and it's like nice. But then you see a carousel of them that they're all hugging, kissing, everything. It's like, nah, y'all fight. Nah, I can tell. I can tell from the way this picture was taken that one, is not the first take, and two, y'all argued why you were making this carousel. There's no way you have it. Yeah. I even had a conversation once with someone. I was taking a bus and the bus was delayed, and there's a layer of not personal space, but there's just a layer in your mind of like, I'm in my own little bubble when I'm traveling that breaks once there's something to bemoan together. Like, you could go on a long bus ride and not talk to anybody, but if the bus is delayed for 6 hours, eventually you're going to turn to somebody and be like, this is ridiculous, and then that might spark a conversation. Huh? My bus was delayed for 10 hours, and so we're all talking to each other and everything, and I had this conversation with someone, and it truly blew my mind. They said that they were coming back from a wedding where the bride did like a run. Yeah, like really jilted the groom right there. And like right there during the like actual holding hands, like the most important part, the part where you're like 99% married. You know the part where it's like almost done. And the reason that she did it was the night before at the bachelor party. The groom was, dancing with his friends, and they had rented out this entire, sort of ballroom setup, right? And so he and his friends were making like a big show of the karaoke. So it was like some of them were sitting in the audience, some of them were on stage. It was like a proper stage. It was like pretty high. And he got really drunk, and then when he was singing and dancing, he tripped and he fell off of the stage onto one of the speakers. And he had knocked out his 4 front teeth. When it comes to teeth, your front are the most important. Your front are the ones that are the main attraction, Like when you see the first 4 teeth, you're like, he has teeth. Like when someone smiles and you see the first 4 teeth, you're like, that. No matter the size of the mouth, I can tell teeth are partying in there. And if you're missing the first 4, it throws all others into question. Because here's the thing, 1 missing tooth in the front is an interesting story. 1 missing tooth in the front, it's like, oh, what happened? Like, bar fight? 2 front teeth is clearly an issue. Something happened, but, you get by on personality. 3 missing front teeth is like, ooh, did those just never come in? Because once you get to odd numbers, you may want to do something about that. 4 missing front teeth might as well be all your teeth. First 4 teeth cover a lot of surface area of the mouth. And so he knocked out his 4 front teeth. And, it's bad luck to see the bride before the wedding. And so she walked down the aisle, and, she looked beautiful, so he wasn't smiling, he was crying. He was over here tearing up. I'm so lucky, And then she gets up there, and she had heard about the accident. They told her that he fell and he had hurt himself, but he was going to be okay for the wedding. But she was standing there, just over here, standing, waiting to start her new life with her husband. And then the priest asked the first question, do you take? And he said, I do, but the way his teeth came out and the construction of his mouth, it did have a little whistle to it. It did have a, like, I do, and so she ran, she left. Which is devastating. Her friend was saying, she asked her, like, why? Do you love him, right? And she was like, yeah, but in that moment, I just couldn't imagine, like, raising kids that didn't have their 4 front teeth and, like... And her friend was like, but he had the teeth. The teeth got knocked out. Why do you think because the teeth came out that the new kids just wouldn't have teeth? That's not how teeth work at all. Actually, I should back up. I forgot to tell you the story that I told about my worst ever second date. One thing, I'm not big on, like, policing how other people say things. But if you're gonna say, don't you hate when? Make sure that thing is something that commonly happens. I went on a date, and first date was fine. You know, it was good. We were getting to know each other. I think we were both a little nervous and everything. I can be a bit quiet, and, you know, it was dinner, so we mostly chewed. And so we don't even know enough about each other to know if it's like working or not. So we went on this second date. And on the second date, she was like, "Don't you hate it when?" And then proceeded to tell me a story that I had never heard before or since. She said, "Don't you hate it when your dad is like leaving for work and then he backs up the car and hits your dog? And then pulls the car forward, gets out, sees they hit the dog, puts the dog in the trunk, and then comes home with a different dog?" Ma'am, excuse me? So much has happened in like 3 sentences. So wait. Your dad hit your dog. And sadly, it seems, killed the dog. Then put the dog in the trunk. And then left and went to work. And then came home with a new dog that he wanted you to believe was the dog. And you saw all this play out, and she was like, "Yeah, I was like, look, you know, sometimes I'd watch him leave. If, you know, I was a little kid, and so I'd miss him when he would go to work, and so I watched him out the window, which is how I knew he hit the dog." And I was like, "And you said, don't I hate it when," as if that happened to me too, though. As if I've also had that same experience as you, which I think no one has experienced. Like, plenty of people, that does happen. Plenty of people have accidentally backed up on a pet or something like that. But then to come home, did he go to work? Like, could he have even gone to work? Because here's the thing, this stuck with me. As soon as she told me the story, that man, there's no way he went to work. He had to immediately gone to every shelter possible to find the right dog that looked the same, and then spend the work day teaching that dog its name. Because if you tell me that the dog named Sparky, and then he hit Sparky, and then he put Sparky in the trunk, and then he left, and then he went ahead and got a new Sparky to bring home that he hopes you haven't been paying too much close attention to, like the pattern of the fur or anything. If it looks enough like Sparky, if you bring the dog home and the dog doesn't respond to Sparky anymore, you're gonna be perplexed. You're gonna be like, is he losing his hearing or something? And she answered all my questions. She was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe he did. Maybe he went to a shelter instead of work." And then I never thought about that. I never thought about him training the dog all day to learn his name. I was like, "Wait, what do you mean? He hasn't told you? What, did you ever tell?" And she was like, "No, he went to all the trouble, so I just acted like it was the same dog." What? She's like, "Yeah, I just didn't know. I don't know. I didn't know how to call it out." And he already like seemed so nervous when he brought Sparky home. I was like, "That's not Sparky. Like that's not even my dog." But I started taking up for the dog. I'm like, no. He did a switch face off on you. It can become Sparky if you want, but that's not Sparky. You just never brought this up. I'm like, "Nah, I didn't. I don't know. I just didn't feel like it would do any good." I was like, "You didn't, like, tell anyone? You didn't tell your mom or anything?" I'm like, "No, I was the only one that saw it. So I figured if he could keep a secret, I could keep a secret." And I was like, that's as sweet as it is horrifying. Like, there is a part of me that's like, okay, but then everyone else in the family is left in the dark where they're like, why is our dog suddenly no longer house trained? Like, because I was like, did the new dog act like the old dog? And she was like, no, not really. He actually bit a lot. I was like, wait, no. So you let your family get eaten up by this new dog who doesn't know why. And to be fair, I guess every dog could be like, why are they calling me this name? But you don't even know where this dog came from. Where did he get it? And she's like, yeah, I don't know. But don't you hate when that happens?